Hi everyone, I'm MT Lynx and welcome back to Wordbite, where language gets personal, punctuation gets poetic, and today pronunciation gets slippery. You won't believe how many times it took me to say that. Because today we're diving into a word that moves in more directions than a bard dodging tax collectors. The word is diphthong. Yes, diphthong. It sounds like a rebellious beach sandal, or maybe a fancy dragon with a lisp. But what it actually is one of the most powerful invisible forces shaping how we speak, sing, spell, and yes, write. If you're a linguist, an author, a singer, a stage actor, or a non-native English speaker, this word has already played mind games with you. You just didn't know its name. But by the end of this episode, you will, and you will never unhear it again. So let's talk about sounds, slides, syllables, and the strange vowel glide ninja called the diphthong. Part 1. What is a diphthong? Let's define it. A diphthong is a sound formed by a combination of two vowel sounds in a single syllable. You start with one vowel and then slide into another, like people sliding into others' DMs. Like the word coin, it's not co-in, it's coin. That glide between the O and the I, that is the diphthong. Other examples? Light, out, foil, say, no. English is full of them. English loves diphthongs and we hoard them like dragon gold. But we didn't invent them. No, we just acquired them. Diphthongs go back to Proto-Indo-European. They've echoed through Greek, Latin, Welsh, Hindi and Hittite. It isn't just an English thing, it's a human vocal thing. So let's go deeper. Part 2. The word itself, the etymology of the diphthong. Time for etymology snack break. Where did this weird little word come from? The diphthong comes from the Greek diphthongos, which breaks down into two, phthongos, sound or tone. So literally two tones. This is incredibly accurate because a diphthong isn't just a vowel. It's a movement between vowels, a vocal glide. You're switching tones mid-air. Fun fact, that p combo is a gnarly consonant cluster. So gnarly, it often gets softened into modern speech. Diphthong sometimes gets pronounced diphthong or even diphthong, which is actually how I learned how to say it. So next time someone says diphthong, don't correct them too harshly. They're reducing a tripwire consonant group. It's hard enough already. We're trying. Part 3. Monophthong versus diphthong versus triphthong. You've heard of diphthongs, now meet their cousins. The monophthong, which is one syllable, stable vowel sound, like the in cat. It doesn't move. Diphthong, a gliding vowel, like the I in light. Triphthong, a complex glide of three vowels in one syllable, like the R in fire. You're gliding from I to E to E. In phonetic terms, think of it like this. Monophthong, direct hit. Diphthong, a controlled slide. Triphthong, a roller coaster. And depending on your dialect, some triphthongs collapse back into diphthongs or even monophthongs. English is wild. Part 4. Diphthongs around the world. I'm going to pause right here for a second and tell you this pronunciation is kicking my rear. Alright, between my rolled R's, my accent and pronunciation, the triphthong, I can't say that. I'm going to simplify it because I have to say this triphthongs, because if I'm trying to say that triphthongs, it's going to make me say something odd. It already has. I've cut it out of the footage here. So if you're going to hear me say triphthongs for the rest of the video, because my gosh, this thing is beating my poor pronunciation to a pulp. Alright, back to your regularly scheduled video. Diphthongs around the world. Every language handles diphthongs differently. In Spanish, diphthongs are crucial. Bien, good, has a diphthong. So does tierra, land. In French, they're subtler, often hidden behind nasal tones and silent letters. For example, oiseau, bird, glides smoothly from the wa to the zo. In Welsh, diphthongs are everywhere and often unpronounceable if you're not from Cymru. Think Schlanferb. In Mandarin, tonal glides create diphthong-like effects, but the language handles vowels differently altogether. And in English, we've got regional chaos. British received pronunciation, the RP, makes diphthongs more exaggerated. American English often flattens or contracts them, especially in the South. Australian English draws them out into glorious vowel marathons. Spelling chaos. Why diphthongs confuse writers? As an author, you've probably seen words like this. Height versus weight. Vein versus vein. So versus sow. The problem? English spelling is a war zone where pronunciation and orthography went through a breakup centuries ago and never got it back together. Diphthongs are a huge reason for this. They change sound without changing the spelling. Or they change the spelling without changing the sound. Let's play a quick round of Is this a diphthong? Toe. Yes. To. No. Through. No. Though. Yes. Thought. No. And this is why our spell check sometimes cries itself to sleep. How authors can use diphthongs intentionally. Here's where it gets juicy for your storytellers. Character voice. What to give your character a distinct dialect? Manipulate the diphthongs. Southern US English draws out the I in ride, sound like ride. New York flattens it. Irish English shifts the I to an A. That glide is gold. Next up, poetic rhythm. Meter depends on syllable stress, and diphthongs stretch your syllables. Fire can be pronounced one syllable or two. Same with power, hour, and higher. Your poetic line length lives or dies by that diphthong. Part 3. Magical names. You want a fantasy name that feels lyrical or otherworldly? Add diphthong. Ayala, Cain, Aeon, Moira. They sound like they're from somewhere else, even if you invented them yesterday. It's a bit warm. 4. Spells and songs. If you write chant-based magic or lyrical spells, diphthongs give you dramatic vowel glides. Makes it singable, chilling, memorable. Why diphthongs matter to voice actors and audiobook narrators. If you're narrating a book, yours or someone else, diphthongs are everything. A narrator who glides smoothly from vowel to vowel will sound natural, emotive, musical. A narrator who clutches each vowel like a Lego brick? Not so much. Diphthongs carry tone, age, class, region, and emotion. A sad no with a long oo sounds different than a sharp no with a clipped tone. If you're doing accents, dial in the diphthong shifts. It's actually quite fun. Here's some famous quotes with diphthong power. Try saying, I have a dream. Now listen to that I in I and that I in dream. That shift in vowels carry the emotion. I have a dream versus I have a dream. Or may the force be with you. That may has an A, a rising diphthong. It literally lifts the phrase up and is hopeful. Words sound powerful because of diphthongs. You just didn't know the name. Writing exercise, diphthong awareness. Let's do a quick challenge. Write a paragraph that uses at least 10 words with diphthongs in it. Here's a starter. The quiet boy outside the house saw the fire rise higher than the sky. and though his voice shook, he did not look away. That sentence packed with I, A, O, and A. Now, try your own. Bonus points if it's in dialogue. Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about the diphthongs there. When diphthongs go wrong, mispronunciation and misinterpretation. Ever had someone hear there as there, or by as by, foul as foul? Diphthongs are a huge part of homophone confusion. For non-native speakers, English diphthongs are tricky because they often shift depending on the surrounding consonants. They collapse in casual speech. They're not always marked clearly in writing. And if you're teaching English or learning it, you have to train the ear to hear the vowel slides. They're subtle but vital. Advanced Linguistics, Diphthongs in IPA. In the International Phonetic Alphabet, diphthongs are written with two symbols connected by a glide. For example, my, day, go, boy. The transition marks show the tongue movement. These aren't separate syllables, they're a unit of sound with motion built into it. You want to get real nerdy? You know I do. You can even plot them on a vowel chart and track the glide arc across the mouth. That's right, vowel cartography is a thing. Dialect breakdown. Same word, different diphthongs. Let's say the word ride. In general American English, ride. In Southern US English, ride or ride. In Cockney, roid. In Australian English, roid. One word, 4 diphthong paths. This is linguistic sorcery. Now I'm going to ask a little bit of grace here because I actually had to do the vowel cartography to be able to say all of that. That Southern US English one kicked my rear. It really did. So if I'm a little bit off there, extend me a bit of grace because shifting pronunciation mid-sentence is real linguistic sorcery. And I can do it, but it takes a lot of practice. You will not believe how many times it took me to do these takes. It's in the double digits. So when you will build a culture or a region, inventing the diphthong rules gives the speech a unique musicality. Last looks, the hidden art of the diphthong. So here's the thing, diphthongs aren't just technical, they're emotional. They carry the breath of a language, the motion between sounds, the humanness of how we speak. Whether you're reading aloud, writing a dialogue, building a constructed language, or crafting a poem, diphthongs are your friends. They're vowel gliders. They're syllable dancers. They are the shapeshifters of sound. And now that you've met them, you're going to hear them everywhere. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Tell me your favorite diphthong, or your most cursed spelling bee memory involving one. And if you have a triphthong that you love, drop that too. And perhaps if you're feeling generous, subscribe for more Wordbites, where every word has a story. I'm MT Lynx, and keep listening to the gliders in your language. And now you know. And for the love of vowels, glide safely. I'll see you in the next video. This one, right here. Go ahead and click it and glide into the next video. I'll see you there.